and I just think I can exploit it. Like, I think to get out the way of me for 25 minutes at this point in his career without getting hit once, and that's all I need is just one, I think that's going to be very difficult for anybody. I think, like, I'm willing to step in the cage with, we're talking about Jon Jones here, who is the most dangerous guy to ever fight in MMA. So I'm talking about potentially the most dangerous man unarmed on earth, right, who I'm potentially going to fight with. Now, if I'm sat backstage getting my hands wrapped, knowing that he's over the opposite side of the arena getting his hands wrapped, we're both going to walk into the arena in front of 35,000 people with millions watching around the world, and one of us is going to get separated from our consciousness, quite literally, and you're not scared of that, then, like I said, you're either a complete idiot or you're just lying. So, fear.
Jon Jones versus the heavyweight fight will happen. Just relax. I'll announce that soon.
It is a crime what is happening to Tom Aspinall in the prime of his life, in the prime of his career. Give up the belt or fight. That's it. Defend or vacate. That's it.
Tom Aspinall has just issued a brutal warning to Jon Jones ahead of their highly anticipated upcoming clash. Tom Aspinall recognized Jon Jones as one of the most accomplished fighters in MMA, praising his long reign and dominance. While acknowledging Jones's near-perfect career, Aspinall noted the damage Jones has taken over the years. He believes with his own finishing power, it only takes one clean punch to change the fight, and he's confident that moment will come during their 5-round battle.
I think Jon is amazing at MMA. I think he's literally, as you can never be a complete UFC fighter. It's impossible. That's one of the things that draws me to the sport so much, is why I'm so obsessed about it. It's because you're constantly chasing perfection, but you're never going to get it. No one's ever going to be a perfect, complete fighter. But Jon, in my opinion, if you look at his body of work over the last 15 years, he's like as close as you can get to perfection as possible. That being said, he's got a lot of miles on the clock, and he's fighting one of the most concussive punchers in UFC history. And I just think I can exploit it. Like, I think to get out the way of me for 25 minutes at this point in his career without getting hit once, and that's all I need is just one, I think that's going to be very difficult for anybody.
At the same time, Aspinall admitted that Jones holds a major advantage in terms of fight history. He explained that Jones has competed in several major bouts where everything was on the line, while he himself has only had a few experiences at that level. Aspinall understands that this kind of background plays a major role, especially when it comes to staying composed and making smart choices when the pressure is at its highest.
I think.
But where do you think the threats to you will come from?
What, me threatening him?
No,
or
as
him
opposed
threatening
to
me?
what do you think he can do to you?
Oh, well, he's got a lot more experience than I do. He knows how to stay in there. He's fought guys similar to me before. He's had these plenty massive fight experience where I've only main evented the UFC like 4 or 5 times now. He's done that for the last 15 years. Do you know what I mean? So that stuff, from the outside looking in, you probably think, oh, that's a load of rubbish. Like, what's it? Just a fight. But being in those situations, those high pressure situations in those massive fights, if you've been there a lot of times before,
yeah,
in comparison to someone like me who's been there 4 or 5 times before, it does make a big difference. And I'm aware of that. I'm completely aware of it. But that's where he has the advantage, is the experience.
Tom Aspinall also shared that he doesn't quite know what to expect from the upcoming meeting, since it's something completely unfamiliar to him. He mentioned that the UFC told him they would explain the full plan during that discussion, which caught him off guard. Throughout his time in both the UFC and other promotions, he's never been handed a full breakdown or schedule. Normally, he's simply given a date and a place to show up and fight. He found the situation strange and admitted he's genuinely interested in finding out what kind of planning is even needed, as it's just a fight and he already feels fully prepared.
This is what I don't understand, to be honest, because they actually said to me that we're going to discuss the plan tonight and they're going to give me the full breakdown. And for me personally, I've now had 10 UFC fights, and I've had however many other fights in my career as well outside the UFC. I've never been given a plan before. It's just like, this is the date, let me know the location, when, and I'll show up. So this is really rare for me. I don't know what to expect. I'm really interested actually to see like what we what is there to plan? Do you know what I'm like? There's two guys. I'm one of them. I'm in. What's the plan? So I'm interested. I don't know.
On the other hand, Dana White confirmed that Jon Jones will fight Tom Aspinall, reassuring fans that the matchup is guaranteed to happen. He told everyone to relax, as the UFC is fully committed to making the fight a reality. White emphasized that it's just a matter of timing, and both fighters are on board.
Jon Jones versus the heavyweight fight will happen. Just relax. I'll announce that soon. Wait, what do you got? What do you got? Everybody happy? Anybody mad? Everybody good?
However, Tom Aspinall explained that he has very little influence over whether the fight with Jon Jones happens, as the decision mostly comes down to financial matters on Jones's side. He said he is ready to compete at any moment, but believes Jones is aiming for a large payout because of his age, previous injuries, and the high risk involved in facing someone as dangerous as him.
Me personally, I can't do anything. I think it's just down to money. I think on his side. So I will fight whenever, wherever he wants. But it's down to money, I think.
When you say he's afraid to take the risk, what do you mean by that?
I just think that at this stage in his career, he's had an amazing career. I just think that he's like 37, 38 years old. But not only that, he's got a million miles on the clock. So he's got a lot of damage on the body. He's took a lot of shots to the head. And that's not me saying anything negative about it. That's the reality of it. And I'm sure Jon Jones is aware of that. When you put him in with, I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet, but I'm literally the most dangerous guy in the UFC if you look at the stats. When you put him in with a guy of my size who has them credentials at this stage in his career, I think Jon's a smart guy and he realises that, so he wants compensating financially for it.
Aspinall also mentioned that he has never had a direct conversation with Jones. All communication has gone through UFC representatives. He noted that Dana White attended their most recent meeting, which was unusual since he typically deals with Hunter Campbell, a UFC executive who handles most fighter negotiations privately. Tom said that while early talks used to happen over the phone, discussions for championship fights are now held in person. They previously met in New York, and the next meeting is scheduled to take place in London.
No, I never speak to him personally. It's done. So you got Dana White, who is, everybody knows Dana White, he's the face of the UFC. The last meeting I had, Dana was actually there, which is the first for me. Usually it's done with another guy called Hunter. Hunter like stays in the shadows a little bit. Like he's the guy who all the fighters speak to directly. So tonight will probably be Hunter. I'm not sure if Dana's going to be there or not, but Hunter is the guy who does the deals. And we just go in a room, chat. It used to be done over the phone and stuff, but with the bigger fights, it's usually, when you're talking about world title fights, usually done face to face. So we had a meeting in New York about it a few months ago, and now we're here in London about to have a meeting about it tonight.
However, Ariel Helwani expressed his frustration with Jon Jones, saying the situation is no longer about Jones or his personal story. He explained that if Jones wants to enjoy life, make money, or be part of a show, that's fine. But holding up the division and delaying someone else's dream, like Tom Aspinall's, is unfair. Ariel called it a clear example of ducking, because in all sports, things must keep moving. He said Jon has done enough, proved himself, and no one would blame him if he stepped aside. But if he chooses not to defend the belt, then he should let it go so others can have their chance.
It's not about you, Jon. It's not about you. It's not about your life. It's not about your story. If you want to enjoy your life, if you want to be a part of a reality show, if you want to take that money and delay things and hold someone else's dreams back from becoming a reality, that is ducking. That is ducking, because there is a time-honored tradition in this business, in the sport, in combat sports, in fight sports, in sports period, that the whole thing has to move along. It's not about your story. Your story is great and you're living your best life, great. Get rid of that belt. If you want to do that, great. No one will begrudge you. Everyone thinks you've done enough. You've earned enough. You've proven enough. Now allow someone else to have that same story. Allow someone else to write that same story. You are holding him back. You are holding back not only Tom Aspinall, but the rest of the division. So yes, you're missing the point. This isn't about you. It's about the belt.
Ariel also made it clear that Tom Aspinall is not chasing fame or personal drama. He just wants the belt and what it means. The belt brings respect, opportunities, and rewards. And Ariel said it's the same belt that allowed John to enjoy all the success he has today. Now, by holding on to it without defending it, John is stopping others from getting the same chance. Ariel believes that John Jones is missing the bigger picture. This is about the future of the heavyweight division, not about his personal journey.
How many more times does Tom have to say it? He would love to fight him. He would love to be he would love to have the opportunity to be that guy. He would love it. Who wouldn't? But he just wants that belt. He wants whatever that belt signifies, whatever it symbolizes, and what it brings. It brings all the things that John Jones is enjoying right now, because if John Jones wasn't the most decorated champion, wasn't the greatest light heavyweight champion, wasn't the 2-division champion, he wouldn't be doing things like this. He wouldn't get opportunities like this. He wouldn't get the opportunity to live his best life. And now you are stopping someone else from living their best life. Do you get the difference? It's not about you.
Moreover, Tom Aspinall said he's doing all he can to make the fight with John Jones happen, but nothing has worked yet. He admitted he's been trying to stir things up to get Jones to agree, but so far there's been no progress. Tom pointed out that unlike boxing, where several champions can exist in the same division, the UFC is meant to have just one champion per weight class. Right now, there are 2 champions in his division, and he finds that unusual. He thinks John Jones is avoiding the risk of facing him, but mentioned he has an important meeting soon that might help clear things up.
Well, I'm trying. I'm trying to. I can't do anything else. I'm trying to pick a fight with him as much as I can, but at the minute I'm unsuccessful. So, yeah, that's what I want. I want to be called. See, we have a thing in MMA where it's different to boxing in terms of there's one champion at heavyweight, one guy. Heavyweight division. Whereas boxing, you have different like organization stuff. There can be like 4, 5, even 6 sometimes. World champions at heavyweight. In the UFC, we have 1. But in my division, we have 2, which is weird. I don't like it. John Jones doesn't want to take the risk at the moment, so I actually have a meeting tonight about it, so we're going to find out what happens.
Tom Aspinall also said he's ready to face John Jones, even though he knows how dangerous that fight would be. He explained that Jones is possibly the most dangerous man in MMA history, maybe even the most dangerous unarmed person on the planet. Tom described the intense feeling of knowing they'd both be backstage, getting their hands wrapped, preparing to walk into an arena filled with tens of thousands of fans and millions more watching worldwide. He knows that when they finally step into the cage, one of them could very well be knocked unconscious.
Like, I'm willing to step in the cage with, we're talking about John Jones here, who is the most dangerous guy to ever fight in MMA. So I'm talking about potentially the most dangerous man unarmed on earth, right, who I'm potentially going to fight with. Now, if I'm sat backstage getting my hands wrapped, knowing that he's over the opposite side of the arena getting his hands wrapped, we're both going to walk into the arena in front of 35,000 people with millions watching around the world, and one of us is going to get separated from our consciousness, quite literally.
Ariel Helwani further expressed his disappointment, claiming that John Jones is avoiding a fight with Tom Aspinall and denying him the opportunity to pursue his dream, something Jones has already achieved. He described this as selfish and contrary to the nature of the sport. Helwani urged the UFC to make a definitive decision and questioned whether the fight would ever take place at MSG. He pointed out that if the fight happens, it would have been nearly a year since Aspinall's last match, which lasted only 60 seconds. Helwani calls it a shame that Aspinall is being held back during the peak of his career, insisting that Jones should either defend the title or vacate it.
It is ducking at this point. You are ducking. You're ducking the opportunity. You're taking that opportunity away from someone else. You are robbing someone else of the same opportunity and the same dream that you have already realized and lived. That is selfish. That's not how the game works. And so it's on the UFC to make the call. Make the call. And you know what? They may have already made the call. And it may be happening at MSG, and we're all being, we're all being taken for a ride here. But honestly, if that is the case, come out and say it. And please tell Tom Aspinall, for the love of God, because by the time that fight happens, if it does happen on that day, it's going to be a year. We're approaching a year since his last fight, and that fight lasted 60 seconds. It is a travesty. It is a crime what is happening to Tom Aspinall in the prime of his life. in the prime of his career. Give up the belt or fight. That's it. Defend or vacate. That's it.
Moreover, Paddy Pimblett insists that the fight between Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall must take place. While he's close to Aspinall and supports him, Pimblett can't bet against Jones, admiring his incredible fight IQ and ability to devise flawless strategies for any challenge.
Do you think the Aspinall-Jones fights happens?
It's got to happen. I was sitting next to Tom the other week at the UFC in London and talking to him about it.
How do you think that plays out if they fight?
I'll be honest, Tom's a friend. I love Tom. He's one of the coolest dudes in the whole of MMA. Even though Jones is getting old, I just can't pick against Jon Jones. The one thing I do think Jon Jones has got the best in the world and the best ever is his fight IQ. He has a perfect game plan to beat that person. As much as I love Tom and I want Tom to win, I couldn't pick against Jon Jones. It's just something I couldn't do.
Kamaru Usman stated that Aspinall is the most dangerous heavyweight and represents the biggest threat to Jones's dominance. However, Usman urged Jones to ensure his financial security before stepping into such a high-risk contest.
I do think Tom Aspinall is the most dangerous heavyweight right now. 100% the biggest threat to pry that belt away from Jon Jones. But Jon has got to get that back.
Demetrius Johnson praised Aspinall's talent, but believed Jones would defeat him with ease. He favored seeing Jones face Aspinall over Pereira, predicting Jones would dominate. Johnson speculated that Aspinall's $30 million demand could be causing delays in the fight's negotiations.
Jon Jones will smoke Tom Aspinall.
I don't know, man.
He'll smoke Tom Aspinall.
Tom Aspinall is athletic. I think Tom Aspinall will try to take the fight to Jon Jones. And it'll be interesting to see. Like, I'd rather see that fight over Alex Pereira.
Yeah,
that's just my opinion.
I agree.
Like,
I would like to see that fight over Alex, but come on, man. Aspinall is a great fighter.
Yep.
He's a good champion.
Aspinall.
That's what I said. Jon Jones will smoke Aspinall.
Yeah.
Smoke him.
I can't wait to see. I hope it happens. That's the fight that needs to happen. I think Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones needs to happen.
Why do you think there's so much friction there? Why do you think it's not happening? Why? Because we see so much.
I think Jon Jones
internet.
said he wants $30 million.
Dricus Du Plessis acknowledged Aspinall's youth and ambition, but also pointed out that Jones is approaching the end of his career. He expressed hope that Jones would retire undefeated and that Aspinall would emerge as the next major force in the sport. Still, Du Plessis recognized Jones's warrior mentality and his remarkable ability to make tough fights seem easy, solidifying his status as the greatest.
Aspinall is young, he's hungry. You have Jones, who is definitely at the end of his career, 38 years old. I don't need to see this because he's never been beaten. I want Jon Jones to retire unbeaten, and I want him to retire, and Aspinall goes on to be the next big thing. But Jon Jones, being the warrior that he says, pay me enough and I'm doing it. Aspinall wants it, and one of them has to lose that fight. And that's the one thing, you look at it and go, Aspinall's probably going to win. But then, if you ask me that, I say, no. We've said that so many times with Jon Jones, and it makes it look easy. He is the greatest of all time, for sure.
Francis Ngannou suggested that Aspinall needs the fight to prove himself, while Jones stands to gain mainly financially. Ngannou also mentioned that Aspinall's wrestling and ground game make him a tougher challenge for Jones than Alex Pereira.
He keeps saying he doesn't want Aspinall.
Aspinall need that fight. I don't need it. When you look at it, pretty much true. There's nothing that he's going to make winning that fight if it's not money. But for Aspinall, that will be everything.
Would you rather see him face Aspinall or would you rather see him face Pereira?
Aspinall will be a more challenging fight because Aspinall respond to a ground game better than Pereira. Aspinall will respond better in wrestling than Pereira. He can do whatever he wants.
Sean O'Malley recognized Jon Jones as one of the all-time greats, but warned that if Jones were to lose to Tom Aspinall, some might argue that he was past his prime, potentially tarnishing his legacy.
Tom Aspinall? God damn. It's like you risk going down as no matter what, you don't have to fight again. Greatest of all time, people will say that. You're the greatest of all time, greatest of all time, Jon Jones. Or you risk it, go fight Tom Aspinall, possibly lose, and then it's like, he was the greatest. Then they're saying, yeah, but he wasn't in his prime.
Stipe Miocic advised Tom Aspinall to be patient in his approach. He noted that Jon Jones is excellent at exploiting his opponent's mistakes and warned against being overly aggressive. Miocic suggested Aspinall should stay disciplined and wait for the right opportunities, as fighting someone with Jones's experience requires a well-thought-out strategy.
Let's get booked with him and Jon Jones. What's the best advice you'd give Tom Aspinall?
Don't do what I did.
Avoid the liver shot.
Yeah, I mean, what are you gonna do? But I think Tommy, that guy, he's super tough and he hits hard. He moves well. He's a big man. I think that he stays calm under the situation and whatever happens, he just stays calm. I think he'll be fine. You know, he picks his shots, he's smart what he does, and I think he'll do fine.
Israel Adesanya pointed out that Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall are similar in size, with Aspinall being slightly taller but thicker. While acknowledging Aspinall's speed as a potential threat, he stressed that Jones has the edge in grappling. Adesanya concluded that without a fight between them, there's no way to determine who would win.
But he's the same height as me, if not an inch taller, but thick.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, you're a lot thicker than I would expect. Yeah. And the speed, that's the thing that I'm like, okay, that's the danger. But again, grappling, he's a black belt, but John is fucking...
It's different.
Yeah. But I don't know, man. They gotta fight, but if they don't ever fight, we'll...
Rampage Jackson regarded Jon Jones as the greatest of all time in his book and one of the top fighters in the sport. After seeing Tom Aspinall fight, Jackson acknowledged him as a great fighter and potential champion, but stated that he couldn't say anyone could beat Jones until it actually happens.
I think the reason why Jon Jones has been so successful in MMA and been dominating for so long is because his mind is super strong. You know, I've been in the cage with that kid, and I heavily underestimated him, and I've been watching his fights ever since. And I see the stuff that he do. He was doing stuff that nobody was doing. Nobody was doing spinning elbows, even though they was illegal because it was in the back of your head. But it was a good technique when nobody doing stuff like that. And this is the way he controlled the octagon, the way he does everything. His mind is really strong. And I've been telling people for years, I think MMA is 95% mental.
Curtis Blades shared that he would favor Tom Aspinall in a fight against Jon Jones, giving him a 55% chance to win. However, Blades acknowledged that it wouldn't be an easy contest, recognizing Jones as a legend with all the necessary skills and experience to be a tough challenge.
Do you see Aspinall as a guy that could give Jon a lot of problems?
Yeah, he's very fast, he's very athletic, and hits hard enough, and he's actually like a smart heavyweight. He's not just out there just talking and moving. He's like setting things up. He understands footwork. He understands how to set up a takedown. He's not. One thing I noticed with Jon, this is a bonus to him. He takes advantage of like easy stuff. Like if you allow him to get a layup over and over and over, he'll take the layup. There hasn't been anyone in a while that's forced him to like do something else.
Aljamain Sterling found the potential matchup between Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall intriguing, but admitted it would be difficult to bet against Jones. He emphasized Jones's mindset and fight strategy as significant advantages. While recognizing Aspinall's physical talent, Sterling pointed out that if Jones takes the fight to the ground, it could be a tough night for Aspinall.
It's a very intriguing fight. If I had to put money on it, it'd be super hard for me to bet against a guy like Jones, just because I know the mindset that he comes in with. Not saying Aspinall couldn't get it done because of all those physical gifts that he has, but dog, betting against a guy like that, who, if he gets you on the ground, that's just a bad night.
Eddie Hall is of the opinion that Tom Aspinall would defeat Jon Jones if they were to fight. While he acknowledges Jones's impressive record and achievements, Hall believes Jones is deliberately avoiding a matchup with Aspinall. He pointed out that Jones has mentioned retiring after his next fight, which Hall interprets as a sign that Jones isn't eager to face Aspinall. In Hall's perspective, actions speak louder than words, and he views Jones's reluctance to take on Aspinall as him ducking the challenge.
Jon Jones or Tom Aspinall. So if you don't know MMA world, sorry to bore you, but Tom Aspinall is UFC's #1 right now. Jon Jones is, he's seen as the best MMA fighter on the planet. Dana White's got a massive for him, says he's unbeatable. Honestly, I think if you put Jon Jones and Tom Aspinall in a room and said one man leaves, I think Tom Aspinall leaves that room. I genuinely do. I think, and I think Jon Jones, I mean, I can't badmouth the guy. He's got an amazing record, but he's definitely ducking Tom Aspinall, 100%. And I think he's even said he doesn't want to fight Tom Aspinall after his next fight. He's pretty much going to retire after this fight, so he's ducking Tom Aspinall. I mean, he can say what he wants, but actions speak louder than words. So there we go. Anyway, the answer to that question is Tom Aspinall. Tom Aspinall is kicking Jon Jones.
So what are your thoughts on this? Share your thoughts in the comment section and make sure to subscribe and like if you enjoyed the video.